Yes, that's right. He wants you to know that you're an overcomer. Who's this person? Well, he's the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings. And he's telling you whatever you're going through, you will overcome. Words of Mandiza in the background there. Oh, what a week it has been. What a day it has been. I'm not going to lie to you. The day didn't quite turn out the way I thought it would, but it turned out better. There were major challenges, but here we are. In good shape, enough to share a day with you and even spend another 1 hour with you on Unedited. My name is Miriam. Every Wednesday we meet here from 7 to 8 p.m. and share real-life inspiring stories with you to motivate you and get you going. Now, my guest today is a superhero, It's a female superhero. So usually we engage people who have gone through stuff, really difficult situations and have pulled through by the grace of God and, alive to share the testimonies. But this lady, this guest, on the show today has seen people hit rock bottom and she has gone the extra mile to bring them up. Not once, not twice. She's done it over 20 times, over 30 times. I mean, she has a core job to provide a certain service. But when people come to her and she sees how bad the situation is and there's no ray of hope for them anywhere, she decides to go the extra mile to make sure that first of all they get results and most importantly they live. I have a nurse joining us on the show today. Her name is Nurse Wendy. If you're very active on social media, you probably have seen a lot of her posts. Whilst, others decide to post other things, she decides to always appeal to your conscience and your emotions to help her patients pull through the difficult situations. I mean, if you think about it, her job really is to provide them health care and it should end there, right? But she's decided she has a voice, she has a platform, and she's leveraging on that platform to save as many lives that she encounters who are in dire need of health care. So, how does she do it? Why does she even do it? And in today's age of a lot of nurses wanting to leave Ghana for greener pastures, why has she decided that upon all the countless opportunities that she has, in fact, I know that she recently came back from a place that she could have chosen to even stay there and work. But she said, no, I'm going to come back. I'm going to work my ass off. I'm going to use the leverage I have to help to save life. And guess what? Where she is not even the most plush of hospitals. You know what I mean? She has a very interesting story. So I'll play you my song of the week. And then we're going to come back and engage her, okay? It's not exactly a new one, but it's one that it's grown on me for quite some time. I hope that you do love it as well. Here it is. I know. Phil wanted to hear the rap. He wanted to hear the. Yeah, I wish we had all the time to play the full song. Let us see if you can even rap along. Anyways, my guest is seated in the studio. Let's say hello. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Miriam.
Hey, you look good.
Thank you.
I like the mixed print.
Thank you.
Yeah. So she was supposed to have joined us last week, but she had an equally pressing engagement, so she couldn't join us. But thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
You're
Thank
coming
you
all the
for
way
having me.
from the Ashanti region.
Yes.
Wow. Thanks for loving us and being here. When I shared the post with a few friends, like, oh yeah, I know her on Facebook. She's very, very active. So you're a social media star, an influencer in your own rights.
I guess maybe a social media person.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're an extrovert?
I wouldn't say so.
You wouldn't say so.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my guest in the studio is Wendy Boatema Ofori.
Yes.
Did I get it right?
Yes, you did.
Nice one. You've always lived in Kumasi, or you?
Yeah, I've always, most parts of my life, I've lived in Kumasi.
Okay.
I schooled a bit in Cape Coast, schooled a bit in Sunyani, so I am a mixture of the Bunahafo. I'm Fanti.
Oh,
my
you're
dad
Fanti?
is Ashanti. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So a mixture of Fanti, Ashanti, a touch of Bunahafo.
You're a mixed salad.
I know.
What was growing up like?
Growing up was, I wouldn't say it was easy. It wasn't tough as in we had challenges, financial challenges. No, it wasn't.
Okay.
We weren't the most comfortable, but we lived with our grandmother, who is a Fanti.
Oh,
so when
it?
I say it's tough, you should know that you can't just do anything. Exactly. You can't
spare
just
the road at all.
misbehave. So even the things that she can afford, let me say she would not give you the luxury of enjoying those things. But
so she doesn't
wants you
spoil
to
you.
grow up, right?
I see. Thinking back now, you think she gave you the best upbringing?
Oh, she did, and she's still there, and she's so super proud of me.
Oh,
yeah, she did. She took care of it. We were like 2 girls, 7 boys.
Wow.
Yes, myself, my sister, and our cousins. So imagine if she wasn't tough, how she brought up 7 boys.
Are you kidding me?
Who are all like, let me say, none went wayward.
Wow.
Yes, so you can imagine how
2
tough
girls,
she is.
7 boys. That's 9
9
in her house.
in her house.
Gosh, you troublesome bunch.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You
And you've always had the desire to work in the healthcare sector.
Yes.
Or it happened along the way.
It did, but growing up, I didn't see myself doing anything else than helping people.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was that born out of your love for your grandmother?
Also, maybe the care. So you see, the girls, I was the eldest.
Okay.
So I was like literally responsible for everyone.
Okay.
So I think it started from there.
Yes,
but I always tell people I don't think, in quote, I'll function anywhere else aside the health sector.
Is it?
Yeah.
What is it about it that fascinated you then so much and still does now?
You see, there's this thing. Let me use a typical example. What happened this morning before I left the clinic?
Okay.
So they brought in a child who is like 4 years. I was in my room. I live in the clinic.
Okay.
And then I saw them. They were literally just running with their kid naked to the clinic. So I just decided to put on something because I was yet to bath and come to the OPD. And then I know this child. She usually comes in with hypoglycemia, like her sugar is always drastically down. And then the person on duty is a new nurse who is not very familiar with this child,
with his condition.
So the person that brought this baby, literally her sugar level, her glucose level, as in like the fasting was, I think, 0.8. So that means that she was literally gone.
Oh
yes. In quotes, that's a typical example. Yeah. So I came in, we all put hairs together. Give me the cannula, give me this, give me this, give me this, and then within like some 15 minutes or so long, as soon as the sugar went into her system, she was up and asking, "Hey, madam." So you see that, and then the mother was crying, and those around, and everybody was like, "Oh, she's fine, she's fine." I think that's what that matters to me.
That gives you a lot of joy.
That's what that matters to me.
Wow.
That's what I did this morning before I left.
Before you left.
Yeah.
And it's very fulfilling for you, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let's go back to where it started. I'm sure, of course, after you finish your nursing training, and then you chose where you wanted to practice, or you were posted.
I chose the Ashanti region, yes.
Okay.
And then I was posted to Seche East District. Efijase is our district capital.
Right.
And then we were 5 nurses who were sent there, 5 young nurses. Imagine 2010.
Okay.
So we went there. We went to give our letters to the director. This man folded pieces of paper and said that choose. There's a district hospital. There are clinics in the villages, so choose.
Yeah.
And then I chose one that had this particular clinic. We were 2 girls who chose it. And then 3 others chose the hospital. And then I started crying. I said,
you started crying?
No, I'm this smallish young nurse. Why are you taking me that far? And I had...
Oh, so it means you had an idea where it was?
Because when you hear the name of the town...
You just assume that because of the name,
Yes.
it's just a crassy crowd, baby.
And it was. So,
Okay.
So we were 2. So I took consolation in the fact that at least we were 2. And then we were to report on Monday for our letters and take to the facility. And then I got there and they told me the other girl had brought a report that she's asthmatic and the whole place is dusty, like no roads, nothing. So she can't go there.
So
literally
alone.
the 5 of us, I'm the only one that is going to that village.
Wow.
Me, I cried. I called my dad and I was crying. I called my mom and I was crying. My dad said, no. Wherever God takes you,
You follow.
that's where you're going. So go. And then the director at the time told me, someday you'll be grateful I took you to that place.
Oh.
So go. And then I went. So you know the funny thing, when I went, I was looking for a taxi to the place at the station. And then when I got there, so 2 people are in front and 4 people are at the back. I'm like, what? Okay. And then we set off for the journey. As we were going, they said, oh, today it hasn't rained. If it rains,
You can't use the road.
you would have to alight and walk like 40 minutes to the clinic.
Wow.
And then when you're entering the town, the first houses you see are like typical mad houses. And they say, but you're lucky. This year you're on a light, but you're talking.
So all of this was to console you, but I'm sure you were boiling inside.
Because I had never lived on my own. I had never lived on my own.
How old were you then?
22.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
I had never lived on my own, so it was a big deal. It was a big deal. And then I got to the clinic. I met this very lively midwife, older woman who was happy to see us. And then I saw the clinic. I'm like, what?
What did it look like when you got there?
It looked like an old house. Like, honestly, it didn't look like a clinic. It just had the name of the clinic because the ceiling there was roof, but it wasn't sealed. Like just the sheet. The place was hot. There was just dust everywhere.
And this was where you were going to spend the next 5 years, 3 years, 4 years
of my life. It took me 6 months to be able to go and live in the community I was coming from home. I was communing from here. It took me 6 months to be able. I was posted in June, I think. I went to live there, I think somewhere in November, December.
Right.
Yeah. Before I was able to live. And even at that, if I'm off, I'm home.
There was nothing to keep you there.
Nothing. This was a place I didn't have water.
Yeah.
It was a place I struggle. I have to go out to get network to call my family. Funny enough, I've been there for 13 years.
For 13 years?
Yes.
The same place that took you 6 months to actually adjust and want to live in that space.
Yes.
You've been there for 13 years.
Yes, I've been there for 13 years.
What was the motivation? I mean, aside the fact that you're a nurse and so your first core job is to go and save lives, this particular area, I know a lot of nurses who pull all the strings just to get out of there. But you stayed on for 13 years.
Yeah, I've been there for 13 years.
What was the motivation?
The people.
The people.
They needed the help. They needed the nurses. The people. Nothing else. The people. The patients, our clients, they were my motivation. Yes.
Let's fast forward to reason why you're here today. You're a nurse. You provide health care. That's your first job. But you in particular, you go the extra mile, trying to solicit fans and sending posts and appealing, emotionally blackmailing people. Emotionally blackmailing people, I mean, in a good way. To help your patients and all of that. Who gave you those extra duties?
I'm sure you believe in God.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'll say it's God.
Where did this start? Who was that patient that came to you and you thought, no, I have got to move everything I can move to make sure this patient lives?
There's a story I've never shared. I've been on a few platforms, but there's a story I've never shared. I'll share that story with you. So it started, even before social media, we're doing it in the clinic in our own small way.
Okay.
But there is this man I was very close to in the community. He was a preacher and he really understood the Bible. So, his teachings got me. And then there is another village aside mine who also, the community that patronizes our clinic. And then we were told that there is a man. He came from somewhere to do some works in the village, and he's sick.
Okay.
He's developed these sores on his legs, and he's sleeping in a room with goats. So I was with this guy, this particular person who's a preacher. He's a taxi driver in addition. And then I was with him. He lived opposite the clinic.
Okay.
And then we were having a conversation. Someone from the community came to the clinic, and then he asked, as soon as he how we said, so often he's sick. I had a dream about him. Would you go with me to go and see him? I said, okay, let's go. What's there to lose? We went there and I literally cried. He was smelling so bad. His wound was infected. He was anemic. He was everything no good. And then part of the building was off and he was sleeping in the cold. So quickly I said, drive.
With the goats?
Yeah. I said, drive back to the clinic. I came back to the clinic, picked stuff that I would need to clean him up. I picked new bed sheets, everything that I could lay my hands on, and then asked the colleague to come with me. We went there first day. I cleaned. I remember when we were cleaning the sheets and the stuff that she was sleeping on there, where, he had defecated a bit on himself and everything. And then there was one woman standing there. And then she asked, Madam, what would I said no. He said no. You can't be doing what you're doing if you are not a mother.
I'm sitting here looking and you looking all Slay Queenish, and I just imagine. Wow.
I know. So we cleaned him up and then we made arrangements to bring him to the hospital, the district hospital, of course, because he needed blood. Yes. And then we did all this. It went on for a couple of months. We got someone in the community who, I think. This was 2013. We got someone in the community who would make food for him and stuff like that. Do you know?
At your own expense?
Yeah, at our own expense. Mine mostly. And then we decided when he was better, we asked him where he was from. I've forgotten the name of somebody saying the Kumasi after Jaso, come forward somewhere, there is a branch road. And then he told us where we were from. So we said, okay, let's take him to his village. At least he has family. You won't believe what happened.
What happened?
When we went there, he showed us his family house, and then we went in there, and then we asked one person, as soon as he says, people say, hey, as a California Bema, they have been looking for him. Wow. And his brother owns a private hospital in Accra, and they've been looking for him. And he said, his mother recently died, but his auntie is here. And then when they saw him, they started wailing because they had already imagined him dead. That was one of the saddest days of my life. When I saw the kind of house, the kind of rooms that their auntie had, and where he was sleeping. So this is the first thing that, let me say, I've never shared this story, not anywhere. But he was the first patient that, let me say, although he was an adult, I'm into child health. Although he was an adult, I went out of my way for. I've lost contact with him, but he became, they brought him to Accra, got him a private nurse. His family was that capable. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's where all of this began?
I would say that's where all of this really began. That was in 2013.
For the other nurses or the team you're working with, I'm sure at some point they doubted, why are you going the extra mile?
Yeah, in the hospital. When
that come up? Did you get that sense?
Yeah. When he was brought in the hospital.
Yeah.
In quotes, some patients in quotes can be stubborn. You know that. There was a time he would say, "Pacho mama mi fufu me nurse ni bo betia." That's me. He's asking the nurse on duty to go outside the clinic and get him fufu so that when I come back with his own money, because when I come back, I'll pay.
You will pay for it. And you would come back and pay for it.
Exactly. So, it was a bit irritating because that's the nurse on duty taking care of you. And you're telling You know, so yes, there were times that people would ask. I remember one physician asked, why spending so much on him? I didn't even know.
Yeah.
But I knew I wanted to do it. Yeah. So started a while.
When did you decide to start doing this on social media?
2017. So you remember I told you I lived in Sunyani?
Yes.
I was a new mom around the time. So, and then I was taking up a course at K University. Okay. And my parents were in Yamfo specifically. It's not too far from Sunyani. Okay. And I was taking the course in Sunyani. I needed to be there so that my mom would help me with the twins.
Okay.
So one time I had closed from school and I was coming back. I got down. There's an information center in the town. And then when I got there, I heard them campaigning for a child. Say, the child had taken caustic soda.
Okay.
So they've done a gastric bypass for the child and then needed, I think at the time, 12,000 for surgery.
Okay.
So I just passed by and gave what I had in my purse. I just gave it. But when I was going, I used to say something, but I'm beginning to realize it was God. Said, go back, take a picture of them and ask for permission to post this on your social media platform. So I went back and then I asked them, I said, okay, am I permitted to take a picture? And say yes. The mother said yes. People said yes, take a picture of them.
Did they know you were a nurse?
I think so.
Okay.
I wasn't in my uniform, but the people at the information center knew who
identified
I was.
you.
Yes.
Okay.
So I took a picture and then I shared. Funny enough, it got over 500 shares when I shared that image on my social media platform. Yes. And then one man, Kwesi Crazy Answer, who runs a foundation for kids, came on board. It's a lot of conversation around that. I wouldn't even want to go into. You see those people that are standing by the roadsides and taking money for patients and stuff like that. If I tell you what we uncovered, you'll be surprised.
Fill me in a bit about it.
So you see what they were doing? The child was a patient of Confanoche.
Okay.
Who even someone had already paid money to the hospital for surgery.
Her treatment.
But they've been taking this child to Rome for 2 good years.
What?
Yeah. And you know what they do? If they go to this town and they raise, let's say, 50 cities, automatically half of the 50 cities is for the team. And then the rest of the like, let's say 25 cities is for them who are campaigning for you. The 25 cities, that's where they take their travel expenses, their food expenses, where they sleep. Out of that. And then what is left is for the child. And even that, they keep it. So what they do is give the mother something. So even the mother doesn't know how much they've been able to raise. Do you know why they were doing that? So they raised this campaign and someone went to pay directly to the hospital. But they were looking to raise their 12,000
before they let the child know that there was help for her.
When we went in, Kwesi Crazy Answer came all the way to Kumasi from Accra, went to see the doctors back and forth. Then we got to know that this amount of money was there. Do you know she died after surgery?
Oh no!
Too much exposure. Like she had too many complications after surgery. She had waited for 2 years, and when the help came finally, she didn't make it. Crystal,
how did that make you feel?
I was there when she was buried. Yes, I went with them. We had to pay for a place for her to be buried. We had to pay for everything. And I cried my heart out that day. I would never forget that day. I cried my heart out that day. Yeah. I still remember where we buried her. That was the first social media official thing for a child. Yeah. And then from one child to another.
Do you have accounts of how many children you have helped in this way?
That's a lot.
50.
Oh no, not lying. Maybe if I'm not lying, from 2017 till now, close to 1,000, I think.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not. That's true.
You've helped close to 1,000 children.
Yes.
Soliciting for money to pay their health care, supports, whatnot.
School fees, stuff like that. Yeah. But mostly healthcare.
Are people very receptive when you make these posts?
Yeah, they are. Amazing donors, they are.
Interesting.
Yeah, they are.
Have you had an instance where somebody comes to you and wonder, is this true?
Oh yeah, a lot.
They see that you post so much of it, and at a point they're thinking, hey, when did your story not do it? Is it even true?
Yeah. Was it last week? Yeah, last week I'm campaigning for this conjoined twin girls. They are so beautiful. So right now we needed money for them to take an MRI scan, because the doctors want to determine if they share the same organs, or I'll show you a picture of the twins. And then a friend of mine shares the post, and someone tells her, I'm a photographer, this looks photoshopped.
What?
So she inboxed me and said, Abina, have you seen these kids yourself? I'm like, yes. For these ones, I don't get to meet most of the patients, but for these ones, I have. So someone says, look, I said, Charlie, I'm looking for 5K. If he will give me the 5K, I'll drag him to the twins. So a lot of time, people used to leave comments under my post. This is a scam, but I don't even have to comment. The people that support me will come and do the commenting themselves. But these days, I barely get anyone, aside this recent one, I barely get anyone telling me this is not true, this is true.
Share with me some of the blessings that you have encountered as a result of this.
Lord. Like I said, I'm a mother of twins. A lot of blessings has come out of this whole thing. So when my dad was alive, he died quite recently. He told me something. He told me the prophet that God took to the isolation and where the raven was feeding. Yes. Had the prophet not gone there, the raven would have still taken the food there, because God had appointed the raven to take the food there at that time. So my dad believed that whatever blessings I'm enjoying is because I listened to God and worked in that village. And then it's transcended to this. I never take anything for granted, but the opportunities this have opened for me, the kind of people, in 2019, I got an opportunity to go and study a course in Canada. And literally that's because of what I've been doing, all this. That's what opened the door for me, although I have family there. But a lot of them, the kind of associations I've made, the kind of people I've gotten to know. I always say that maybe in real life, I wouldn't have even met most of them.
Right.
Yes, the kind of people I can pick a phone and call and say, I need this kind of favor. The doctors, the nurses, the lawyers, the TV personalities. How would I have met them?
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm speechless. I'm very speechless. And when you talk about the opportunities that, takes you away on courses and all of that, I'm just curious. We're in a time where a lot of nurses, why are you laughing? I've not even finished saying what I want to say. A lot of healthcare people want to leave, wanting better conditions of service, or just genuinely want a better life, Wendy, let me finish my question. But it is real. You have, especially after COVID, there are lots of health workers who have left for, in quote, better opportunities. But you get these opportunities and you go and you quickly want to come back to the same village you wanted to leave in 6 months, but you've been here for 13 years. Why?
You know why I'm laughing?
Tell me.
Because I think I've got this question like a billion times. Even my own colleagues ask me, like, why do you go and come back? Why do you, like, they literally don't understand why I would travel. Like you said, I recently was in Arakema like barely 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Why do you travel and come back? I don't know. I don't know, but I feel like it's not time for me to leave yet. There is this prayer I say to God every day. I tell him to give me directions for my life. Forgive me if I do the check thing.
Please go all out.
The SD.
Yeah, please go out. No, we're not bothered. Please go all out. We won't gag you.
Yeah, so it's not for me. It's not my time yet. So I have just one sibling. Okay. I have just one sister, and she's Canadian.
Okay.
And she doesn't understand why I won't leave. My mother is there with her. They don't understand why I am still. So
even they're giving you pressure.
At a point they were, but my sister once said that she's realized this gives me fulfillment. You see, that village gives me fulfillment. So last week when I came back and went back to work, there is this orphan. There are 4 orphan siblings who are under my care. I do what I can for them, and the youngest is around 10, if I'm not lying. But they are kind of cute. He came to me at the clinic. I don't know who told him I'm back, because I got back in the evening. The next morning he was at the clinic and hugging me and said, "Man, you're back, you're back." And then he said, "Men kobi moi."
Oh. Oh.
I feel like a part of me is in that village. There are better opportunities out there. I won't lie to you, because we all know our salaries are nothing to write home.
I was gonna say that. I mean, for what you do, you're probably an exception. You probably are very well remunerated. Or
the
value is the same. Oh, with all the plenty things you're doing for
the value is the same.
For God and country,
it's the same.
Wow.
So a lot of people don't understand why I don't want to leave yet. I'm saying yes because I don't know what tomorrow might hold. But for me, I feel like it's not my time yet. I feel like I have a purpose to fulfill, and I need to be here, regardless, in quotes, the amount of money you make, regardless, when there is no fulfillment, I feel like you've not lived. Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that you have encountered? For instance, some of the patients whose issues you put out, have any of them ever come back to you and told you, oh, well, I thought I'd be comfortable with you putting me on social media for assistance, but on second thought, people are knowing my business too much, Have you had any of that instance?
No.
Okay.
So I had an offer to do a TV program, I think somewhere later last year or earlier this year, if I remember.
Okay.
I turned it down because they were going to show the faces of the patients we support. That's something I would never do. One thing about me is confidentiality. So before we post any kids, usually children, we take consent from parents.
Okay.
Sometimes written consent. And then I cover the faces of the patients. Not once have I had any mother come back to me and say that, why did you post my child? I don't want... No, not once. I make sure you want it before it goes out there. Yeah.
Well, what about your colleagues? What you're doing, does it rub off them to also be inspired to do same? Or do you rather have colleagues pulling you down?
Oh, no. I wouldn't say I have anyone pulling me down.
Okay.
But I think, I'm not limited to my village.
Okay.
Barely do, the big ones that we post on social media and stuff. Mostly I don't usually post from my village, because that one we sort it out. I mean, the digital space is just the blood issues and those things, we just sort it out.
Okay.
But most of the people we've supported from the north, from the Volta region, from the western region, it's my colleague nurses who call me, the social workers who call me and say, there is this case, this person is in dire need and is serious and we want your help. So I asked, have you sought consent? Explain this whole process to the patient's relatives before I take it out there. So no, but there are lots of them that today someone sent me a message with images. It was about a teenage mother, blah, but at the time I had too much on my hands. Say, I spoke to some colleagues and then we came together and we've also done what we can and then we presented these things and then they sent me images and it's inspiring. Last year December I did something like put a smile on someone's face.
Okay.
So we did favors to some people in the streets and in the markets and stuff, and then I threw a challenge out and a lot of people got on board. They would do things for people they don't know and send me images and send me videos and pictures. So yeah, colleagues pulling me down, yet to encounter one.
That's very refreshing to hear.
Yeah, yet to encounter one.
Very, very refreshing. You must be very popular in your village, in the village where you are.
Last week I went to see my boss and I'm like, boss, I'm tired. I was joking. I want to leave this guy and say, shit, okay. You see, the community I work in, they all know me. That's the simple way I can put it. This morning when I came out of the clinic, a woman who was attending to her relative who was sick said, Madam, this morning more than 5 people has come to ask of you here. And then the nurse on duty, the night shift, will say that she's not up, she's not even in the clinic. It's too early, like 6 a.m. you are looking for her. Like, why?
Yeah.
So yes, it's not just the community, but the small communities around that we go into, to talk to them, to see them, to share Christmas. We spend Christmas and stuff like that with them. Yeah.
So your family is there as well? Your family's in Accra?
No, my family is in Kumasi.
Oh, they're in Kumasi. And how do they feel about mommy being away almost all the time?
It's not easy. It's it used to be easy on them.
Okay.
But they are growing now. Earlier this year, I went to pick my daughter from school. Usually, I would drop her off on a Monday morning. I drop her off, make sure she's 9. Make sure she enters the school and then I drive and go away. But I had not entered her class before. So there was this Monday, I wasn't feeling too well. So after I dropped her off, she thinking I had left, I didn't go. So in the afternoon, I called the person that was supposed to go and pick her, my sister-in-law, and then I told her, don't go and pick Arita up. Let me go and pick her up. So I went, and the school is a big school, and I couldn't find her class. I was roaming, and So I saw a girl, she was in class 2 with. I said, hey, where's Arita?
Yeah.
So come, let me take you, mommy. Then I entered, and my daughter sees me, and she's like, she looks just like me. And she sees me, she's like, mommy, she's happy. And madam said, no, we don't know you. You are not allowed to pick her.
Wow.
I'm like, huh?
That must have really hit you very hard.
I had to call her auntie on video for them to see her, and then I'm like, Aretha looks exactly like, she's 9, she knows her mother.
Yeah.
She looks exactly like, no, we don't know you. I understood they were doing
that's reality check right there.
I was really hurt that day when I was taking my daughter back to that. She was so happy to see me, and then in my head I'm like, no, I need to find a balance between this. Because I'm home Friday evenings, Saturday we are in church the whole day, Sundays they have to be music class, they have to be here, Monday I'm off again.
So they literally spent two days and a half probably with you.
Yeah. And then on the Saturday we are in church. I mean the auditorium, they are in children's service, like stuff like that. And I say no, I need to find a balance. You know? It used to be okay with them, but I'm realizing that it's not anymore. It's not.
Yeah. Your husband? Is he supportive?
Yeah, he is. Very, very, very. I mean, he's the brain behind all this.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, he is.
Good to know that he's got your back. Because
he's a child health specialist, social services.
Oh, he's in the medical service as well. Oh, okay.
So he is, the social. He'll give you the advice. I say, go this way, don't do this, do that, do that. When he's around.
Yeah. Let's talk about misconception that you feel a lot of people have about nurses. I mean, you hear a lot of stuff, but here you are, completely different narrative of what we usually hear. What's the thing that we've gotten wrong as far as perception is concerned?
I wouldn't sit here and say that we are angels. We are not. One thing I talk about everywhere that I go is I ask if people know the nurse-patient ratio in Ghana. I always say that it's overwhelming. If you know that patient and nurse is assigned to in a day, it's when you talked about seeking greener pastures, I was like, so on my recent trip, my sister had a baby. So I got the opportunity of being in the hospital in Canada with her. And then you realize there's nurses coming. A speciality, she just comes to check, is the child okay, this is and go. People are assigned to
different roles.
She doesn't have to do a lot. But look at me, when you come to the clinic, we are for records. Because when you come and you bring your OPD card, it's me that's going to look for your card, your folder for you. We are for entering insurance claims. We are for the OPD taking your vitals and everything. If a child is running fever, convulsion, whatever, I am responsible for that child. If there is an inpatient, because you have beds, we detain. If there are detained patients, I am responsible for that child. If there is an accident that patients are brought in emergencies, that patient needs to be sutured, stuff like that, you are responsible for that child. So people are exhausted already. I've had my fair share of not being treated well by nurses. Who did you know I was nurses? Me.
In the same hospital?
Yeah, no.
In a different place?
In our own world, those that work in the big hospitals, and those that work in the villages, there are some. Even you? Even me.
You've had your own fair share of being mistreated?
Yeah.
What happened?
I had the twins, when I had the twins.
Yes.
So there's an experience I don't remember I've even shared. When I had the twins, I had surgery for the twins. And then the doctor that took care of me, he's my uncle.
Okay.
The doctor that took care of me said, there's a drug, it's petidine. Usually it's for the pain. Most doctors will give it like 100 milligram BD morning, evening.
Okay.
But my uncle would divide it into 4, like give it 50 QID, give it 50 every 6 hours.
Okay.
So in the morning when I delivered the twins, was it a twin? I think it was my first girl. When I delivered her, in the morning he gave it to me at like 7 a.m. ish, and then he left.
Okay.
And then the drugs were by my bed. So when the nurse came in the afternoon, I told her, you're supposed to give me this drug. She said no. When the evening nurse comes, she will give it. I said no. He gave me 50 milligram before he left. So the pain is beginning to set in now. And then he says 4 times in 24 hours. I was given the first drug
So
at
at
7 a.m. I got the next drug at 10 p.m.
Wow.
So you can imagine the pain I had
from
to endure. And then the way and manner they went about these things. I am a nurse, and I am telling you that this and this is what is required. Simply read my folder and you see it. But they left me in pain. When I had the twins, I bled. The nurses coming. I was telling them that I feel like I am bleeding. I am bleeding. I mean, they say, when the doctor comes, you should. When the doctor comes, you. So the house officer came around and said, Charlie, I am bleeding. I know myself. He said, okay, let's take an HB test. We took an HB and my HB was like 5 point something. Can you believe that? 5 point something.
Did they know you were a nurse?
They did.
Or you kept that away from them?
No, they did. It's in my ANC card.
Oh, they knew you were a nurse.
There's an occupation. There's a side that says occupation. Even if I hadn't, let's say the people I knew had left. And
right.
Then, yeah. And then I've had nurses who are angels as well. Nurses that treated me so well.
I mean, you would have thought that when a nurse sees their colleague nurse, they would be, let me put in quote, extra nice because, you know.
Well, these ones were midwives. They weren't.
Yeah, but you're all, aren't you supposed to be colleagues in the health service provision sector?
Yeah. And then I have midwives in my community, the ones I've encountered personally.
Yes.
That will walk to a home when they've noticed that someone is pregnant and not coming for ANC.
Right.
I didn't know antenatal clinic. Madam, this is we'll take care of it. Come. I've had midwives that have midwives in a car that have clothes in their bags that when people are pressing without anything, they're able to clothe them and put dresses on them and like dress them, follow up to their homes. Even in a car, I can mention names.
Right.
So, like I said, it's not. I'm not going to sit here and say we are angels. First of all, it's exhausting. Number two, the system doesn't really help us. I'm being honest. There was a time that people were talking about no bed, and nurses were like, when the nurse said, oh, no bed. Were we lying? There wasn't. Exactly. And sometimes too, people have this, conception that nurses are rude. So, so even the simplest thing that you said, typical example, yesterday we had this woman detained, and then 2 early women said, we want to come and sleep with her. I said, mommy, she's an older woman. That's why there is a nurse on night duty who would take care of. But regardless, if one of you want to stay with her, no problem. Stay. But 2 of you want to sleep on separate beds. So in the evening, in the nights when we get cases, what are we going to? So no, then let us go and sleep on the bench. I say, you see, there are lots of mosquitoes. By the time we like she is,
you were in for malaria.
You are back in. And then this became, they didn't understand why I was asking those kind of questions. And then there are people too that will come in and there was this man that brought this, I think, 12-year-old, 13-year-old pregnant girl. And then my colleague asked her, what's your relation to? The guy said, it's my brother's wife. My colleague was like,
12-year-old?
Yeah, my colleague was like, what? And this man got angry. Why are you asking me that question? I the only one who has been to school. And then he got, agitated. I was just sitting down. And this man knows me, the community. I was just sitting down and then watching him. And after all, he made it say, Madam, when did I said, she has every right to ask you because that girl is underage and she's pregnant. So if you are saying that girl is your brother's wife, she as a nurse is an advocate for her patient. She has every single right to ask you to repeat what she said because she has every right to report you to the social services, even to the police. She has every right to report you. That's when you say, oh, madam, you see. He didn't know, and then so I won't say we are angels. We've got our ups and downs and our bad moments and then our good moments. We are missed off, everything.
Do you have any regrets?
No, I don't. Being a nurse?
Yeah. Being a nurse, having to work in the village where you currently are for 13 years, the ups and downs and all of that.
Sometimes it affects my mental health.
In what way?
There are times I get overly emotional about patients. Regardless how long I've worked, I've still not figured a way how to handle that aspect of my life. Regrets as in being a nurse, regrets, no. sometimes you get tired when the system is not working to support your patients. When you see that you are doing everything to support these patients, but the system itself is not helping, it gets frustrating. Sometimes when you feel like the people in places who are supposed to make things easy for nurses and patients for us to be able to deliver the service effortlessly are not putting in enough effort. Sometimes when you see that healthcare is not being prioritized, it's sad, and then you begin to wonder, should I still stay in this system or should I leave?
Should you leave? Yeah.
But regret as in being a nurse, regret. Like I said, I don't think I'll function anywhere else.
Was there one time that somebody you had helped to raise funds or helped to save their life came back to you in such a way that to thank you, that left a mark that
yeah, you see, sorry, 10 kids have been named after me.
10 kids. So we've got 10 Wendy's. 10 Nurse Wendy's.
10. And then there was this particular woman who had fibroid, and then it was a special kind of fibroid, and then it was a bit of an emergency, blah blah blah, and then sorry, we sorted it out. Couple of months later, I had even forgotten about her.
Right.
I was there and said someone was looking for me, and it was a whole chain of people. They were carrying chicken, eggs, plantain, cassava. I mean, a whole train of people. Like, I'm like, what? I don't even remember you. He said, madam, I'm like, oh. A lot of them, they will call me, hey madam, where are you? Did you come to work with your car? I'm like, yes, okay.
Oh,
that kind of thing,
yeah.
right? And then there is this peculiar one. I think he's 94. There's a 94-year-old in my community.
Are you kidding me?
Yes, who would walk to the clinic and say, I want to come and pray for you. And then he will come and then he would go and get me like apple pear, like those things, and then rub it. He will go and bring me palm oil. He'll go and bring me honey. And then when he comes, he will come and ask specifically for me. If I'm not there, he will not leave it. He'll just take it back. When I come, he say, sometimes I even recorded him because he's educated. He knows when he was born, so he's able to say, I want to pray for me. I pray for you. Yeah, so I mean, I enjoy the community.
Absolutely, you do.
Yeah, I do.
Well, I wish we had more time. We could go on and on and on and on. There's just so much we could talk about, but keep doing what you're doing. I mean, I'm speechless. Your selflessness to your calling, and the extra mile that you go, sometimes it's not because you're looking for an immediate gratification or reward, but it's the lives that you're touching.
Yeah.
Would you want any of the kids to be a nurse too?
No.
Why not? You wouldn't want any of them to follow your path?
No, I want them to be in the health system.
In the health system.
But
okay.
I want them to choose other fields.
Not to become a nurse.
I wouldn't stop any of them wanting to be a nurse. No.
Okay.
But if I had my own way, there are sections where they can make more impact. I wish they would go from there. They would go from there.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. How do we find you on social media? I know how to find you, but for somebody else who's listening and wondering, how do I find Wendy on social media? How do we find you?
Wendy Basmo. Fortunately, I have the blue tick, so when you see it, you just know that it's
Superstar. Blue tick with a purpose. Blue tick with a purpose. Wendy, thank you so much. I've had such an awesome time. I knew I was going to have a fantastic time with you on the show today, and I have gotten all that and more. I will keep looking, and I'll be observing from afar like I always do. That's how I found you.
Thank you.
And we hope that, you won't be a stranger to our studios. And of course, whenever we can also be of help, don't hesitate. You've got my contact. Reach out.
Thank you.
Just reach out.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's our show for you this Wednesday. We're back next week, Wednesday, with another mind-blowing one. Do have yourself a great week. A big thanks to my Emmanuel Khan on production, to DJ Phil on the ones and twos, and of course to Emmanuel on social media. I see that Lord is in the studio already, waiting to bring you the news at 8. Have a great evening and see you tomorrow.